All right, class. So this week, week 3, I think we're going to get into sort of the meat of California water. Some of you may have already taken the California Water Resources class. So there is going to be some overlap with that, but I think we're going to go a little bit deeper on a few topics. There's a lot of information. Certainly, there's a lot of movement of water in California, but I think this is what really got me interested in water. I think a lot of water professionals feel that way. Water in California is so unique, and we have such an interesting system of moving it, of valuing it, of using it. Something that places like Australia actually looked into, sort of using the California model when they got hit with a drought. Most places in the world do not have the ability to shift water from, say, a wet region to a dry region. So that does make us a little bit unique. So you'll see that theme recurring this week. We're going to do a few videos, and then let you explore some of the slides on your own in between. So here's our first video. Maybe. There we go. All right, so where is the water? Okay, generally speaking, you see much more blue going on up here. Lake Shasta, Lake Oroville, this is the Delta. And then you see these thick blue lines coming down. Those are aqueducts bringing water largely to Southern California. So this is a slide specific to Huntington Beach, but I'll tell you, it's generally the same, very much the same in Long Beach and most of Orange County, as well as LA. So there are a few big projects on here. The State Water Project, bringing water down from the Delta. The Delta is in turn getting water from Lake Oroville, Lake Shasta. Then the LA Aqueduct, that serves specifically just the city of Los Angeles. That's taking water from the Owens Valley in the Eastern Sierras and bringing it down to Los Angeles. Then the Colorado River Aqueduct is bringing Colorado River water. That is a multi-state project. That is a federal project, right? The aqueduct itself is operated by Metropolitan Water District, as is this California aqueduct. So, Metropolitan, which is this yellow region, plays a big role in all of our water supplies. So, we've established that the water is up here. We've established that there are several aqueducts projects bringing the water down here. And that's because largely this is where most of the population of California lives. Certainly, the population is concentrated along the coast, right? Even up here towards San Francisco, Oakland, bigger cities up here. But primarily the Los Angeles, San Diego sort of region, right? And everything in between. You don't get nearly as much population on the interior of the state, but largely coastal Southern California, right? 48% of the state's population lives in Metropolitan Water District service area. That's, it's almost half the number of people in this tiny little yellow area. So, not surprising that that's where all of the aqueducts flow to. So, are we stealing NorCal's water, right? You hear that a lot. That was a big thing when they were thinking about doing the Twin Tunnels, the Cal Water Fix project last year. You may have heard about that. We'll talk about it more later. But are we taking more than our fair share? Well, yes and no. So here is a little infographic on who uses Delta water exports. Okay. So we've got total water use in the region and water exports from the Delta. Okay. You can see that South Coast, which is the region that we are in, that we're talking about primarily in our class, we are using some water from the Delta, right? That little orange block. But you'll see the majority of the water is coming from somewhere else. Now, where that is, some of it could be local, definitely some groundwater, but also the Colorado River. Okay. This is just looking at exports from the Delta only. Central Coast, they're using a little bit of export. They don't have nearly the population we do, so a little bit lower. San Francisco as well takes water from the Delta. But you'll see this inland water use, right? These are farming areas. That's really where the majority of the Delta water is going. So keep that in mind. I mean, yes, SoCal does export water from the Delta, but I think that's only part of the story. I think that agriculture is actually a much heavier user. So that's something that water professionals are starting to address. How can we lessen the effect of agriculture without decreasing agriculture's productivity? Again, where are water sippers and guzzlers? If you look over at the second infographic. So this is giving, I believe, gallons per capita per day numbers. And this is a couple years old now, so I would bet that these numbers are actually smaller now. But you'll see that Los Angeles is coming in at 152 gallons per person per day. That's what per capita per day means. And then you'll see Central Coast, Contra Costa, can't read, is only, they're doing 183 gallons, significantly higher than Los Angeles. Now, granted, San Francisco, a place where they typically don't have yards, is doing lower. You'll see that's common in cities where there isn't as much outdoor water usage, that they're lower per capita numbers. That's because in places like LA, about half of our usage is outdoors. So of that 152, about half of it is going out on lawns and what have you. But you'll see, some significantly higher numbers: 334, 279, 313, 736. So particularly this purple region right here, that's where you're seeing these bigger numbers. Well, maybe that's a better way to think of water use in California. We tend to think of it as north and south just because this is where the water is and this is where the people are. But I would challenge you to think of it in more of a coastal versus inland model. I think that's a more useful way to think about our water use patterns in California. Again, this is sort of driving that point home that not all water usage is urban. As a matter of fact, it's a relatively small part. 80% of the total water usage in California is attributed to agriculture. And when we say urban, that isn't necessarily just home usage. That's also talking about something we call CII, right? Commercial, industrial, and institutional use. So hospitals, parks, restaurants, businesses, manufacturing. So keep that in mind. It's not just those wasteful people in Southern California using too much water. Okay, I mean, certainly there's part of that, but there's more to this story. And then When we do look at, this is urban, this is that 20% that's urban. Like I said, commercial, industrial. We do have residential, sure, interior, and exterior, right? It's showing each at 32% of the pie, meaning that they're equal in their amount. It's very typical. In some warmer areas, the inland areas, this actually attributes to more. This residential exterior number creeps up. Large landscapes, those are going to be your parks, schools, what have you. But, just keep in mind it's more than people, flushing their toilets and leaving the water running while they're brushing their teeth. There's a lot to our water usage. So, water's a big deal here. Clearly, there's a lot of water getting moved many different places, and who oversees that? Who is in charge? Well, I mentioned that the Colorado River Project is a federal project. So that is managed by USBR, is how you hear them referred to often, but that's the United States Bureau of Reclamation. They are a division of the United States Department of the Interior. They operate in 9 western states. So you don't have the USBR on the East Coast. You don't see them in the South, but you do see them in the West and in the Southwest, Northwest as well. So, like I said, the Colorado River Project, also the Central Valley Project. The Central Valley Project we haven't discussed yet, but it is a project specific to farms, largely agriculture. It takes water from the Delta directly to the interior, the Central Valley region of California. That is a federal project that is not touched by Met at all, and a lot of water moves through that. California Department of Water Resources. They are responsible for the State Water Project. Like the Central Valley Project, it is water from the Delta, but that water through the State Water Project is going to largely urban Southern California, to metropolitan, essentially. Also, the governor has used the California Department of Water Resources to do executive orders in this last drought. He said specifically, cities will not water grass medians during this drought. That was something directly from the governor's mouth, and he channeled it through the California Department of Water Resources. Also, if any of you have D2s, T2s, D3s, any of your water certs, those are coming through the California Department of Water Resources. The State Water Resources Control Board is a division of them. So California DWR is heavily involved in water. And then we have Metropolitan. They're known as a special district. So their lines, their span of control does not align itself with any particular municipality, not a particular state. City, not a particular county, right? They cover several counties, several cities. That's why they're defined as a special district. And they have representatives that serve on their board who are generally sent by the areas that they represent. For example, in Long Beach, we have a Met representative who sits on their board. Currently, she has been selected from our water department commission. So these are usually appointed or elected officials, not staff. Okay. They run the Colorado River Aqueduct for us. So that takes water from the Colorado River Project, which is the collection of dams and reservoirs. They move it through the Colorado River Aqueduct and bring it to Southern California. They are a water wholesaler. That means they take water from this Colorado River Aqueduct and from the State Water Project. We can't forget that. And they basically sell it to their member agencies. So cities, water departments, whoever is a member can buy water from them and resell it to their customers. This makes up a large portion of many water department, water district, water portfolios. In my city, it is about half of our water portfolio. About 50% of the water that we sell to our customers comes from the Metropolitan Water District. Now, the other half we'll talk about in greater detail later, but that's things like local supplies. All right, so I'm going to let you guys go through some slides on your own now. I hope I didn't speak too quickly or stumble over my words too much, but I will be back with another video shortly.